everyone, this is the last vegan. Unfortunately, the bills have caught up. So, I've been waiting almost 2 years on my notice of assessment from Canada Revenue Agency. And also my job application has been stalled by RCMP. Electricity subsidies, haven't heard back from them. So it's not a good spot to be at because I can't afford to pay my rent for this month. So, let's fire back at Canada Revenue Agency and expense some of their tax loopholes, which I think are pretty silly. I'm just gonna set up the categories to news and politics, since this is actually not a League of Legends stream. And maybe reduce some of that lag. So this is news and politics. Politics. Where's politics? I don't see a politics cow here. There we go. So, most of you probably like doing your taxes online, but I was behind on taxes since I had no income to report, and so I just had to do everything by hand because we weren't allowed to do it online. So let's look up how to do our taxes online. Okay. And I'll just walk you through the tax loophole. So this is the Government of Canada website, canada.ca. And let's look through a tax form. General income tax form might be zoomed. There, okay. Income tax and benefit return. Okay, and let's look for the rental income. Okay, so for rental income, when reporting this, you can report a negative number. So let's look up this guide that they're asking us to see. So guide T4036, rental income. And there's a PDF. Oh, select feedback, sure. It's okay, I'll give feedback after. Okay, expenses. Expenses you can deduct. No. Expensive. Hold up, let me go back to under expenses. Oops. Do I have to reverse engineer this? Where was the spot? Oh, did they fix it already? Maybe not. Let me just double check. I'm sorry for the wait. I'm trying to find the form. Excuse T4036. Yeah. So in the guide, Chapter 2, calculating your rental income and loss. So rental income, how do we calculate rental income? Well, we go to form T776. And we fill that out. Okay, So let's split it T776. Download, share, let's look at this farm. Okay, so blah, 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 all my personal info, expenses. Okay, so total expenses, personal expenses, rental portion, deductible, net income. Okay, let's say for the year, I have to pay $10,000 in rent. And half of that is my personal expenses. Half of that is a tenant's expenses. And let's say they were non-compliant for the whole year. Okay, so my deductible expenses are line A minus 9949, my personal amount, minus 9366. Okay, so 0. My net income is the total expenses from line 8299. Where's 8299? Okay, so let's say I earned $0 income. And the deductible is 0. Okay, so it's 0. Okay, that makes that. Okay, let's play around. Let's say that my renters did pay rent. Okay, so they paid all of the rent. So I changed the non-compliant amount to 0 because they paid the rent. So the deductible expenses go up to $5,000 because they did pay their rent. So now this net income goes to total income. So I earned $5,000. Put in outside barracks. Oh, that's never mind. Okay. Net income. Do this math. So 5,000 minus 5,000 is 0. Okay. That works too. Wait, no. Minus deductible. Okay. Now, what's the problem here? Why is this, why is line A a double negative? Okay, that makes sense. So we minus, oh no. This doesn't make sense at all. Okay, so total expenses is 10,000. Look how this contributes to the net income. Let's say, and this is not really realistic, but let's say everything else is 0. Let's say I paid $10,000. My deductible expenses are $10,000. And the net income is minus 10,000. Now that's not realistic, because let's say I'm the only person living here. Okay, so if I'm the only person living here, my personal expenses are 10,000. I paid 10,000. So my deductible expenses are total minus personal amount is 0. And my net income is 0. Wait, no. If I earned $5,000 out of nowhere, then 5,000 minus deductible is... Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Then where was this loophole that I was seeing? I'm very confused because there's a double negative here on the total expenses. I find this a little bit confused. I'm just live streaming because I find it very strange. But when I try it out, the numbers work out. So it's just strange because what I find strange is this personal portion should be the deductible, but it's not a deductible because it's minus minus. Okay, let me look at another example. If I rent this property out to somebody else, right? And I have to pay $10,000 for renting it out. And let's say, oh, okay. The non-compliant amount, so that the income is affected by the non-compliant amount. Okay. So let's say I earn $5,000 and they don't pay $5,000. So the deductible expenses is the total expenses minus my personal expenses minus the amount they didn't pay. So 5,000. Okay, it's going to be 5,000 either way. Let's say they didn't pay. Okay, let's make it more clear. Let's say they didn't pay 6,000. So they owe me $6,000. The deductible expenses would be 10,000 minus 0 minus the amount they didn't pay. So 4,000. This is strange. Why isn't 6,000 the deductible instead of 4,000? 4,000 is my profit. 4,000 is my revenue. Why is the revenue my deductible instead of the unpaid amount being my deductible? And the net loss here is the income, 4,000. So net loss is going to be negative, or net income is going to be positive. So let's see. The net income is 4,000 minus the deductible. So 4,000 minus 4,000 is 0. So my net income was 0. Hi, it's Hira. Is that Noctara? In the bus? Yeah, I'm just looking at the Canadian tax forms. I know, super exciting. But I don't really agree with this double negative here. I don't see why an unpaid amount is not a deductible, right? If someone steals $6,000, you shouldn't have to pay taxes on that. Okay, let's say, why is this number zero? Okay, I'm gonna say, let's say I pay 12,000 a year, and I lived in this little Kiona, or let's say 15,000. And I live in 1/3 of the residence, and I earn $4,000, and I'm not paid 6,000. So I have a $6,000 loss on this 1 year of rental. Then my net income, wait, so instead of $6,000 of loss being the deductible, it's the $4,000 revenue that's tax deductible. Oh, is that because? Wait, but can this 4,000 be bigger than the 6,000? Let's just test. Let's say I earn 6,000. I'm owed 4,000. Then the deductible expenses would be, whoa, it just shot up. Where's my calculator? I'm gonna lose tracking here. Okay, so 15. Why is the total expenses adding to my deductible? Minus the personal expenses, 5,000. Minus the amount I'm owed, 4,000. So that's 6,000. Deductible expenses is 6,000. Oh, because that's the revenue. Okay, this is some weird math, but that actually does make sense. Wait, that makes sense in such a weird way. But why is 6,000 the deductible instead of 4,000? And then the net income would be, let's see, total rental income, so 6,000 minus 6,000, it's zero. My net income after taking the 4,000 loss is zero. I mean, let's say guys, let's say I take a 6,000 loss and I only earn 4,000. So the total rental portion, so let's say they skip on $6-7 of rent. Then my deductible would be total expenses, 15,000 minus personal amount, 5,000 minus the amount they owe. So 4,000. And my net income would be total income minus 4,000. It's zero. Why is it zero though? Why does it always add up to zero? Clearly I earned 4,000. I lost 6,000. Then, what? This doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Deductible, this minus that, 4,000. Net income, well, give to do. Okay. Why is the net income always zero? I'm very confused. Okay, let's say, I earn more money. Let's say I earn, let's say I earn $12,000. Then everybody pays the amount. So the deductible would be 15,000 minus the amount I live in, personal portion, minus the debt. So the deductible would be 10,000. Why is this the deductible? Why is the deductible not 0 or 5,000? And the net income is the amount I earned, 12,000 minus the deductible, 2,000. Wait, that actually makes sense. I paid the $10,000 in expenses. So 2,000 is the profit. Wait, that actually makes a lot of sense. Okay. And let's say, okay. So let's say I take a $1,000 loss. So I earn less money. Then the deductible would be only 9,000 is deductible. Okay, so this isn't really a deductible, is it? And then the net income would be 11,000 minus 9,000 deductible. What? 11,000 minus 9,000 deductible. The net income is still 2,000. But I paid 10,000. I earned 11,000. So wouldn't the profit be 1,000 instead of 2,000? Why is this non-compliant amount? Why is the amount that they don't pay a double negative? Let's say, we don't pay $2,000. Okay, so my income goes down. They skip on $2,000. The new deductible is 10,000 minus 2,000 is 8,000 deductible. Why is that? The non-compliant amount, B from chart A. Where's chart A? Where is B? I don't see B. Non-compliant amount. I meant B now. What? Yeah, opening. Yeah, so the amount they didn't pay. Right. So if they didn't pay $2,000, then 8,000 is deductible. Why 8,000? And the net income is total income 10,000 minus the deductible. 10,000 minus 8,000 is 2,000. So the net income is, I got a $2,000 profit, but I paid 10,000. They owe me 2,000. They skipped on 2,000 to rent. I made back the 10,000. Hi, Davy Tegrity. Hashina Kusara. Difference in my previous ones. Oh, yeah, it's because I'm waiting on Canada Revenue Agency for ones for the last 2 years. So I'm just, criticizing them. So anyways, most people do it online, but if you file it by hand like the lawyers, then I think there might be a loophole because I don't understand this double negative. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand how if someone doesn't pay their rent, then it counts towards profit rather than the losses. So if I take $10,000 loss and I make it back from the rent, I may skimp on 2,000 so I don't make any profits. Shouldn't my deductible be like, I don't know, it's like weird, it's some weird equation. So then the skimping on rent reduces my deductible. And now my profit is 2,000. But clearly I'm breaking even 10,000 and 10,000. The profit is 0. So where's this 2,000 coming from? Right? Because if it was normal, right? If the non-compliant amount were added to the deductible, then it would be, what is this? 15,000 minus personal amount minus non-compliant would be 10,000 minus 2,000. But why isn't it like 12,000? Why not 12,000? Why isn't the amount they skimped on added as a deductible so that it decreases my net income, right? Because then if that were the case, if them not paying rent was a tax-free expense, like why would them skipping rent be a taxable, like why would you tax missed payments? If they missed 2,000 in payments, then the net that normally would be what? Profit 10,000, revenue 10,000 minus deductibles would be minus 2,000 because I didn't pay the 2,000. But that doesn't make sense either, right? Shouldn't it be this amount? Shouldn't the net income be the amount for the short-term rentals? 9,365. No. I think net income should be the amount of money I get minus the upkeep. So 8,299 minus 9,365. But then if they don't make a payment, then it reduces it. No. If they miss payments, then it counts towards profit. And that doesn't make any sense to me. That doesn't make any sense. How does that make sense? It's like It's a double negative. 9366 reduces from the deductibles to add to the net income. So missed payments are counted as profit. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make any sense. Why isn't the net income just the amount I earn minus the amount I spend? Now, why call this deductible expenses? Wait, this double negative. So total expenses are subtracted from net income. Why? So, okay, I'm paying all the total expenses. Yeah. And then net income would be what? So income supposed to make 10K, but renters only paid 8K? Here? No. Um, so this example would be, if I charged 12,000 a year, but they didn't pay 2,000. So let's say they did pay the 2,000, right? So I did earn my 12,000. Then the deductible would be 15 minus 5 minus 0. The deductible would be 10,000. Okay, that kind of makes sense because it matches this number. And then the remainder is what? They earn 12,000 and deductible expenses was 10,000. So I earned 2,000. And that makes sense because I spent 10,000. I have the 2,000 profit. And so the net income was 2,000. Okay, so the math works there. But if they skip like, let's say they like don't pay a quarter of the rent. So, and that's what I was looking at. Let's say they skip 4,000 in payments. So I only earn 8,000. Then the deductible expenses. This map is so wanty. So 15,000 minus 5,000 is 10,000 minus the amount they didn't pay. How much with 6,000? And then was there a wonky math? My net income would be like 8,000 minus 6,000. What? My net income is wonky math. It is wonky math. It is wonky math. Why isn't it just like the amount that I have to pay for upkeep? Or no. Shouldn't the net income be like the revenue minus the expenses? But it's not. So, yeah, this is wonky math. Okay, net income is the revenue, 8,000, minus the wonky deductible is 2,000. So I made a $2,000 profit. If I lose $2,000. What? No, this should be negative. What? Hey. Income is 8,000. Minus, but the deductible is 2,000. So I make a $2,000 profit if I lose, if I have a negative. Wait, this should be negative. What? Why is this positive? Total gross rental income, 8,000. Okay. Minus deductibles, 6,000. Like, what? How does this work? It doesn't work. Double check. Line paying, 15,000 for the apartment, minus expenses for the tenant's portion. No. Okay. 15,000 minus the portion that I'm in, 5,000, so that's 10,000 left, minus the amount they skimped on, 4,000, is 6,000 deductible. Why is it 6,000? Why is it 6,000? Wait, oh my god, there's construction work going on. This is why I haven't been streaming as much. Why isn't the net income just the profit? Like, why isn't the net income just the income minus the expenses? Like, this is the expenses. I don't understand that at all. Why is total expenses a deductible? I don't get it. Like, this should be expenses that. This is the part I'm renting out, right? If I have a house with 3 rooms and I rent out 2 rooms, and one of the tenants doesn't pay 4,000, so I take a $2,000 loss. Then I made a $2,000 profit. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Okay, let's say say I try to rent it out for 0 profit. So $10,000. And they don't pay 4,000. So let's say I'm trying not to make any profit at all. I'm just trying to break even. So 10,000 minus 4,000. I earn 6,000. I'm just trying to break even here. Then the deductible expenses would be the cost of the property minus the amount I live in minus the deductible, 6,000. And the net income would be the amount I got, 6,000, minus the deductible. It's 0. What? Wait, what? It was negative when I did my own. I don't understand. I'm so confused right now. Why is it 0? Deductible expenses. Why is it a zero? If I made a $4,000 loss, I'm confused. What? I tried for the 2 REMs. Exactly the same as like the property tax and whatnot, maintenance, whatever. I take a 4,000 loss. My net income is 0. How is it 0? Shouldn't it be like a 4,000 loss? Okay, let's say I take a loss. Game of Jam. All this dystopian automation and AI could easily give everyone a 10-hour work week in the next decade or so if it was used for the common good instead of just being used for evil like everything else under capitalism. Well, capitalism includes property rights, so you're actually allowed to own property under capitalism. Yeah, but like communism and capitalism aren't the only forms of government. There's like, communal bikes that anyone in the community can borrow. There's like nationalized resources where like, I don't know, like, UBI, it's like universally secured income or something. I don't know. YPM for you? Yeah, yes. It's gonna be mass. I'm trying to understand the Canada tax from. Somehow I got like negatives on net income. I'm wondering how I got negative. Maybe that's why they hadn't returned my farms. Maybe you're not supposed to get negatives. Yeah, I don't understand. Like if you take a loss here, if you take a $4,000 loss, then why is the net income 0? Okay, let's say I'm not even trying to break even. Let's say I charged $9,000. What? I charge $9,000 and they don't pay $3,000. So let's say I'm not even trying to make a profit. I'm not even trying to break even. The deductible expenses would be only $15,000 minus my own REM minus the deductible. $7,000 deductible. The net income would be my total income minus 7,000. Okay, so here, all good, homie. You to you? Yeah. It's good to understand this. Hopefully, I can understand this so it's not as frustrating. So, in my eyes, the net income means profit, right? So, if I paid 10,000 in expenses for these 2 rooms and I earned 6,000, then my net profit is a $4,000 loss. But according to Canada Revenue Agencies, if I take a $4,000 loss and I am trying to break even, then the net income is 0. But if I take a $4,000 loss and I'm not trying to break even, then the net income is minus 1,000. It doesn't make sense. The 2 rooms cost me 10,000. I took a $4,000 loss. No. I took a $3,000 loss due to the tenants and a $1,000 loss due to myself. Then I took a $1,000 loss. Oh, because I was underpricing it. What? But what about this? What about the 3,000 they didn't pay me? Why is this not included in a loss? I underpriced by 1,000. Okay, so what did I underprice my room by like $300 last year? And that's why it was negative? But if they don't pay me the 3,000, why is this not the loss? I mean, like, I'm not even trying to break even. Why can't I report like the amount they didn't pay as my loss? Okay, let's say they're a little bit better than otherwise, and they actually they give me 1,000 at December the 30th. On Christmas they repay part of their rent. Then the deductible expenses is now 15 minus 5, 10 minus 2 is 8. So there's more deductible expenses because why is there more deductible expenses? They gave me $1,000. Why is there more deductible? I don't know. And I subtract. So they gave me $1,000. No, this is stupid. I get $1,000. Therefore, my net income goes down. I get $1,000. My net income goes down. Does this make sense? Someone gives me $1,000, which reduces my income by 1,000. Gross rental income. No. Oh, it's 7,000. No. I did it wrong. That's my bad. 7,000. Okay. 7,000 minus 8,000. Oh no, it's still minus 1,000. Okay, so I underpriced my property by 1,000. Okay, so net income just means how much I underpriced my property by. So last year I underpriced the property by $300 per year. Okay. But if someone doesn't pay me, let's say I get a really bad tenant. I might have had this before. And let's say they pay like 1 month's rent. And I'm not even trying to break even. But they skipped the rest. So I charged $9,000 for a $10,000 property to help pay the expenses. It's a $15,000 property. I'm subsidizing the stay by 1,000 per year. Then the deductible is 15 minus 5 minus the amount they didn't pay. Okay, the deductible is 2,000. The net income is what I earned minus 2,000. So they don't pay $8,000 of the rent. They basically increase me for $8,000. So my profit is 10,000 minus the 1,000 that I'm shelling out, minus the 8,000. So wait, oh no, I'm subtracting the expenses. So I earn 1,000. I've used 10,000. So my profits are negative 9,000. So I take a $9,000 loss. Amount gets reported as a $1,000 loss. Why? Why? Why isn't it not negative 9,000? Or even negative 8,000? Or even, the sensible thing would be, okay, let's say the cost of the property is the expense. Okay, so what if it was the income minus the expense? So like why is non-compliant amount? Shouldn't non-compliant amount like lower my profit? I don't get it. This part doesn't make sense. If there's 2 rooms in a house that I rent out, it doesn't make sense. Okay, let's take the other example. Let's say I overcharge for rooms. Okay? So let's say I charge no? Shinakusara says on form T7676, the non-compliant amount for short-term rentals is the portion of your rental expenses that the Canada Revenue Agency will not allow you to deduct because your short-term rental property was operating illegally. What? Non-compliant amount means operating illegally. Oh. So I'm not allowed to have bad tenants? What defines a non-compliant rental? A short-term rental is considered non-compliant if it meets either of the following criteria. Lucky is in a thingy that doesn't allow rentals, or operator does not have a registration license or permit to operate according to provincial municipal laws. I mean, there's just rumors, like people living in a room. It is part of the lease agreement that I'm allowed to have people live here. So it's allowed in the lease agreement. A 0 for non-compliance, which would make my net income 9K minus 9K. What? Wait, so I filed it wrong? But they were non-compliant. They didn't pay the amount. Okay, let's say I put 0. Then I earn 1,000. Then the deductible expenses would be... Oh my god. deductible expenses would be then not my renter's non-compliance amount, it's if the property itself is non-compliant. What? But it says for rentals. B some chart A. Where's B? Non-compliant amount of expenses for short-term rentals. If you incurred an expense, what? I'm so confused, but you might be right. If you incurred an expense to pay rental income, exclude the portion. If I had a also if the property was non-compliant, I don't get it. If the property was non-compliant, shut your rentals as in you are renting it out or shipped him. Oh, well, so I filled this out wrong? Oh, that's why I haven't gotten the funds back. Tina Kusara says, yeah, I think that's what it is. Basically, what you're saying is if you are not allowed to rent this property out, you cannot deduct your losses from in that income. I thought it's if the tenants aren't paying rent. I don't get it. Like my non-compliant amount. Tenant not paying rent just decreases net income. Oh, that makes way more sense. Okay, so if non-compliant amount is 0, then deductible expenses would be 10,000 minus 0. And the income would be 1,000 minus 10,000, which is minus 9,000. That makes so much more sense. Oh my god, you solved it! You're not the tax specialist and in the US, but yeah, maybe check this with someone who would know a bit better. Oh my god. I was so confused. I thought it meant, like, people not paying rent. Oh my god, I was saying, like, the tenants are non-compliant. Oh, but non-compliant refers to the property. You solved it! Oh my god, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I have to redo my taxes. Damn it. This is the 3rd time I'm redoing my taxes for 2024. Yeah, that would make sense. Okay. Thank you so much. I'm gonna do my 2024 taxes the 3rd time. You solved it. Thank you.